Ciao Juventini of the world, my name is Giuseppe, welcome back on the channel. We are here a few hours after the press conference of Massimiliano Allegri, but yes, Max has spoken to prepare the game against Sassuolo tomorrow in the Mapei Stadium at 6 p.m. Italian time. I couldn't do it live for a simple reason. It was 11 a.m. At that specific moment I was in meeting, so I couldn't do it. But in the meanwhile, I watched it twice and I'm able now to share with you what he said, but also give you my opinion, because it was an important press conference, a different press conference. Just telling you about the length. Usually a press conference is 15 minutes. If really there are a lot of topics, important topics, you can even go and extending it until 20 minutes. But this time, we reached 24 minutes. That's super long to tell you how important that game of tomorrow is. How focused Massimiliano Allegri is also in taking his time to answer all the questions that were asked him. He sat down, he listened to the question, and he took his time so that there were no misinterpretation, because it's important. At the moment, I think that Maxi understands that the press conferences are also understood and watched by the players, or at least they are reading the papers, and he doesn't want to give them a wrong message. So even if sometimes he has to repeat what he's saying, well, he will take his time to do it. I invite you to put a maximum of like on the channel if you didn't yet. Let's continue to support the Juventus content creator also by subscribing to the channel if you didn't yet, and put that notification ring on, because I don't know if you know already or not, but every single Thursday 11 p.m. we are live with Romeo Agresti on the channel, where we speak about the latest updates. A lot of things are already anticipated in these lives that are quite nice. People that are there, they are appreciating it. So don't forget, it's not only Mercato, but the takes of Romeo are fantastic. So I'm counting on you to be more and more present during this live, because it's just a fantastic moment between Juventini. Let's go back now to the press conference, to that important that yesterday already we highlighted, because we know it. It's a different week. We have no Champions League, we have no European competition, Coppa Italia didn't start, but this week we play Sassuolo tomorrow. On Tuesday we will play against Lecce, without forgetting that a few days after we will have Atalanta. The cycle of these three games are super important for self-esteem, to understand where we will be, where we can compete. But attenzione, because the first word that Max said is, I feel that there is too much, a lot of euphoria, too much enthusiasm, which is good. The enthusiasm is good, but on the other hand, it takes a lot of mental energy away, and also the focus. We are only at the 5th game that we are playing. We didn't do anything yet at the moment. Sassuolo is a great team, is a good team. Yes, it's true, we won 1-0 with that hat-trick of Paulo Dybala, and by the way, I was happy to hear Paulo Dybala again, but all the other games against Sassuolo have been difficult. So pay attention, it's not an easy game, especially because they come from a huge loss. They were leading 2-0 and they lost 4-2 in the last game, so they will have that sense of revenge. What is he speaking about enthusiasm? Does that mean that after 3 victories and a draw, after the beautiful performance against Lazio, we can't celebrate, we can't be happy? No, because he's even saying that, yes, it's sometimes good to have that enthusiasm. But he's not stupid. He knows what people on social media are saying, what on television has been said, what the people are speaking about in the papers. And at the moment, and you know it also here on the channel, well, there were a lot of topics that were going into the direction after the loss of Milan, after Napoli not being able to do 12 on 12 like last year, that Juventus became the anti-Inter. Suddenly, Juve became the only possible competitor for the Scudetto with Inter. And that's where the danger is, because we have a new team that is quite young with less experience. The lot of players that we have never really won something significant, and the danger of too much enthusiasm is thinking that we are already where we have to be. And that can't be the case, because there are so many things that we have to improve. We are not there yet. We have to work harder. We have to run more than the opponent, something that he said and repeated at a certain moment in that press conference, because otherwise that crazy enthusiasm will enter the brain of the players and they will think we are already there. So tranquilli. You saw it also with Milan. From the moment that they lost 5-1, it was difficult for them. They already started losing confidence in themselves. They were not able to beat Newcastle. Inter, on the other side, everything was going well, and then they are playing against Real Sociedad, with all the respect, good team, but attenzione, we are speaking about a team that is playing against the finalist of last year Champions League, against the one that is able to do 12 on 12. Well, that too much enthusiasm is actually making that in Champions League the coach is rotating with a lot of players, and at the 85th minute that's the moment where they are able to draw, not before, which is a bad start for Inter. So that enthusiasm has to be controlled. He spoke about some individualities like Dusan and Fede, confirming that Chiesa and Vlahovic had a small problem during the week, something really minor. They trained isolated at the gym, but since yesterday, 2 days ago, they are back training collectively, and they are back again, and they will be 100% available against the game of Sassuolo tomorrow. He spoke also about rotations for tomorrow, but I have the feeling when he's speaking that he's really putting the focus to beat Sassuolo tomorrow, saying more or less there will be rotation maybe against Lecce. That's an important one. So can we see tomorrow maybe the same starting 11 that played against Lazio last weekend? Could be. Maybe for the first time in the Allegri 2.0 that we will go with 2 times the same formation. Could be an interesting one. The rotation, the subs, the changes could potentially be seen in the game against Lecce midweek. But there will be some rotation. Maybe a Moiskin, maybe a Milik that he confirmed that are in really fantastic form. It will not be Kenan Yildiz that will play tomorrow. Why? Because he's playing with the next gen. Let's see if he will be called up for Lecce or not. But at the moment, it's absurd to keep taking Kenan Yildiz while you're not even able to give minutes to Milik and to Moiskin. He spoke about Huijsen because Alexandro, confirmed by Massimiliano Allegri, will miss a lot of games, so Dean Huijsen will permanently be with the first team. He didn't say that he will start, he didn't say that he will make his official debut, but at least for a few weeks now, for a few months now, will be permanently with the first team, and we will not see him anymore with the next gen. What about the fact of not playing Champions League? Is it a benefit? Is it a disadvantage? Well, he said it depends about what corner you're analyzing it. One thing is sure, next season we want to play the Champions League because it's adding value to the club and to the team, technically and also financially, because even next year, the revenues of that participation to the Champions League will be even higher. Step by step, of course, we know that top 4 will not be an easy task because at the moment Inter, Milan and Napoli are the favorite ones, which he repeated again. And then he said the final objective and where we are, we will discover it on the 26th of May. But entering that top 4 is crucial, and that's where he's opening a breach towards the future of the club. How crucial it is to enter that top 4, because today you just count if you are in Serie A, if you are in La Liga, if you are in other leagues that are not Premier League, to survive and to plan. He's saying the team that we have today is a team that is structured, a team that is structured to have a beautiful future ahead. We have a mix of a lot of Italian players, a lot of young players, a team that can do better and better and better, that has a beautiful future ahead. But it will depend a lot, and it's crucial to enter that top 4, because entering that top 4, these players will be able to have more experience playing Champions League competition, but also you will be able to have more finances in the club that are important. He didn't say to buy and sign new players, experienced player, known players, but that's what he's going for. If you want really to compete, you want to do that next step for the next year, it's important also because, you know, with 1 year without Champions League, you can keep Dusan, Fede, Adrien Rabiot, you can keep these players. Without Champions League for 2 years in a row for Juventus, well, it's a total disaster. It's a drama because these players, they leave. And they are probably also correct to leave at a certain moment. So that's why, you know, that top 4 entry is crucial and vital for Juventus. There was something that he said that I really appreciated at a certain moment. A sentence that probably will be underestimated, not be spoken about a lot. But it's a bit between, you know, that lowering the enthusiasm. He said, victories must again be the normality in a club like Juventus, because it has always been in the DNA of Juventus. That's super important. That's for me my takeaway. The players, the coaches, the tifosi, they have again to understand that a win, a victory for Juventus is the normality. Don't get overexcited when we have 2 wins in a row. Don't get too overexcited when we have a beautiful start of the season, because winning is the normality. It's not something super extraordinary that you are doing. He's speaking about game by game. It's not speaking about winning trophies, okay? That's important to understand the difference with it, okay? That doesn't mean that he's waiting for people that are start to be gray without emotion. No, you have to celebrate, you have to enjoy every single point that you have in Serie A, but on the other side, you have to be rational. Don't go overexcited, don't go over depressed. He also spoke about that possible loss that will for sure happen in the 38 games of Serie A, that at a certain moment you will draw, that at a certain moment you will lose a game. It happens, unfortunately, but winning or losing a game can't move you too much. It can't put you down in depression. A win can't put you too much in enthusiasm, because then you are actually led by the moment, by external factors. You need to have a final objective in your mind, and a win or a loss in the middle of the way can't change your plan. You have to go. You have to go. Being stable and balanced. There was something that I liked also there. I don't know if people will push on it, but at a certain moment he didn't say top 4, it's enough, it's okay. No, he said at the end of the year, if we are 4th, 3rd, 2nd, or 1st, we will understand it, we will see it, and we also will understand how much the team grew. Important, because as I already told you multiple times, the objective is not only top 4, it's arriving and achieving as fast as possible that crucially important top 4, but from the moment that we are there, well, let's see where we will end. Let's not close. Let's not stop dreaming from the moment that we are there. I really appreciated that sentence. He spoke about Magnanelli, because he spoke about Magnanelli, but also he wanted to add Padoin, 2 technical staff that are there with the team on the field a lot, and they are bringing a lot of beautiful things. He said, of course, Magnanelli is new, he's subbed out, or he subbed in for Paolo Bianco that became first team coach. The technical staff members, like for example now Padoin that is taking his license to become a coach, official coach, if one day they want to be individual first team coaches, well, I cannot be more proud than that, because that means that at least they learned something with me, that they had a beautiful moment, that they understood some things, that I was able to share some things, some knowledge with them, and with their own capabilities, with their own skills, they are able to develop their own career. So happy when he sees staff of his technical staff growing and developing himself. I liked also that one. What else did he say? About Berardi. He said during the summer there were some talks with a lot of players. You know that Manna and Giuntoli were taking about the Mercato. I didn't specifically ask Berardi, he said, but it's true that we were following different players. Now, at a certain moment, we decided to keep the team as it was and to work with these players, hoping that tomorrow Berardi will not do a top performance against Juventus that is usually able to do. So it is a strong player. Berardi, we spoke about it. No, I didn't speak. I read it this morning in Tuttosport in that interview of Carnevali that said, we had some talks. It was not something that really entered in details. I gave a deadline. Juventus probably changed their mind and they were not able to meet that deadline to go for Berardi. Will he be sold in January somewhere or whatever? Maybe. We can't say no today, but that means that the big offer has to arrive. Yesterday I was talking about it with Romeo. If you have to doubt, you have already a player that is costing 0, and it is Mattia Sule that can do with a lot years less than what Berardi has, probably the same thing. So pay attention for that. What about McKennie? McKennie is doing well. And then he said, Wea is a great alternative. He just arrived since 3 months in Serie A. He's still adapting, but it's a player that I'm really satisfied about. So you see that journey of Wea starting fantastically well in the games that were not really counting in LA and so on. From the moment that Serie A started, well, a lot of players, they have to adapt because Serie A is really different than the other ones. And then a final topic that I also liked was when he insisted about the fact that we have a beautiful future with the team. We have a structured team. And there is something exceptional if we are able at the end to qualify to the top 4, is that Juventus, if we are entering the top 4 this year, Juventus had a generational change, because he's saying from the time that I was here in the past and today there are maybe 6 players that are still the same, all the other ones were all changed. We were able to change everything, but after winning 9 Scudetti, after 2 Champions League finals, Supercoppa, Coppa Italia, etc., winning, well, a lot of other teams, after these winning cycles, they collapse and they are not able for a few years, because of generational changes on, to enter top 4, to qualify to Champions League. Which Juventus, if we are going back in Champions League next year, is actually a team, and especially momentarily, that never missed a Champions League qualification, even with the change of cycle. And that's something to be really proud about, because yes, we probably collapsed in going elite, in winning the Champions League, in winning a Scudetto or whatever, but Juventus never really totally disappeared. If today we are not in Champions League, we know why it is, and it's certainly not because we didn't qualify on the field. Did I forget something? Fagioli. Yeah, that's probably the last one. About Fagioli, that can play in front of the defense. He said in 2017, I said in front of the microphones how great the player was, how many qualities he had, but I also said that he was more a mezzala di regia. What does it mean, mezzala di regia? You'll tell me, is it a mezzala or is it a regista? Mezzala di regia is a mezzala, you know it, a box-to-box player, a mezzala, that is able also to manage the game, to think and to build from there, doing actually tasks of the regista in a mezzala position. So he said, yeah, with training, testing after testing after testing, in the future he could become maybe a regista. Ragazzi, that was it for the press conference of Max Allegri. Can I add something? Yes, but we already said it yesterday with Romeo Agresti. Federico Gatti will have a contract extension. It was not spoken about in today's press conference, but that's what the papers are saying. What else? Alexandro, 45 days out, could be out even until the end of October when we are playing Juve Verona. Coming back in November. De Sciglio is training. Of course, he will come back December, January, more January than December. And that was it, ragazzi. That was it. I think that we spoke about a lot of things. So maximum of like if you didn't yet, continue to subscribe. Notification ring on. Grazie, forza. Juve.